And although you said that you're 100% focused on New York right now, I know that you also have aspirations beyond just Oregon and New York, and that you've been watching the global market. Kind of what else are you paying attention to in the ecosystem right now that gives you hope for ongoing growth in the space?
There's two things. I toured a facility last week when I was in New York for Revelry. I toured a facility in New Jersey, and I think New Jersey is really interesting. I've been watching New Jersey now for a couple years. When I first went out there a year ago, there wasn't hardly any cultivation online, and I think that's still the case. It's been very challenging for operators to get licensed, but that's slowly changing, and I think sometime next year there's going to be a lot more capacity. And because New Jersey and New York are really they're physically next to each other, and I think the markets are very similar, it's a natural expansion of the brand. So New Jersey is definitely on the list. And I'm actually really excited about the international side. It's a whole nother expansion of the brand that we have to make sure that we don't lose sight of all the stuff we're doing in Oregon, New York, and maybe New Jersey. But the fact that we have this opportunity to expand into Europe seems really cool to me. There's a few US brands that are working on it, but it's also very challenging. But because we have the experience and the ability to react quickly, I think that something in Europe would be fun.
Yeah. Last week's episode, we had on Cameron Clarke from Sunderstorm, and
Hmm.
Kanha, his brand, has been doing a lot of international work, and it was a masterclass. I highly recommend that you go check out that episode. He inspired both me and Ben afterwards to really start taking the international landscape more seriously. So I think you're onto something there. With New Jersey and New York, I'm with you. I think those communities of consumers are one and the same. And so for brands to be in both of those markets just is a no-brainer. People live in New Jersey and work in New York, and they're buying cannabis in both markets, and to see the same products in both places just makes a ton of sense. And when you're talking about investing in field marketing, it is just as efficient for someone to be like in Jersey City in the morning and Manhattan in the afternoon as it is to just be in two different towns in the same state. So I think it makes a ton of sense. And it's these dense states that are so close to each other that I've always convinced would be the straw that breaks the camel's back on interstate commerce and things, because there will be interstate commerce of things like brand ambassadors. Maybe they won't be traveling with product across state lines, but they will be traveling with message. And I think that those are things ultimately that will help us see policy change too, because it seems so crazy that in order to drive from Manhattan to upstate New York, that the most efficient way is to drive through Pennsylvania, but you can't do it with cannabis. And you have
Right.
to go a less efficient path just to stay inside the state. So these things are I think, the inefficiencies that are hopefully going to lead to in a more efficient supply chain eventually.